Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Freelance Success Framework podcast. And this has been requested by the community, so we're pretty confident this is going to be a popular topic.
And this topic is going to be talking about how to revive, if you will, a lagging freelance business. So if you have started freelancing and you feel like you don't have enough work, you feel like you're not hitting your income goals, don't have enough clients, and or you're just starting out and you're feeling like you're already behind the starting line, this is for you.
And that can be one of the scariest feelings in the world, especially if you have gone all in and you are full-time freelancing, or even if you're part-time freelancing and you need that money to pay your bills. It can be very scary to all of a sudden look at your schedule and go, oh, wait a minute. After this project, I don't have anything else lined up. And so we are putting together this episode so that if you have felt that in the past, you will not feel it again. Or if you have not yet felt it, you never will.
Yes, this is your game plan. And
this is your
unless you don't have bills to pay, which tell me how that works.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
we assume you're listening from a beach. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that the first thing to dig into is when we're, you say, oh, my freelance business is lagging, or it's not what I want it to be doing right now.
Or if you start thinking about, I need to go back to an office because I need the consistency of a paycheck. That's a red flag.
That's a big red flag. And the first step really is to define what the problem is. Look at your situation. We are emotional creatures, and sometimes you can know what the emotion is before you can actually understand what the situation is. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, my freelance business is slowing down, take a moment and define that to yourself. What does that specifically mean? Does it mean that maybe you usually are working with 3 clients a week, and next week and the week after you only have 1 client that you're working with? Or you are looking at the hours of work that you are planning on working, and maybe it's even retroactive. Maybe you're looking at your schedule this week and saying, oh my gosh, I've only got 5 hours of work. And for the past several months, I've had 30 hours of work every week. Or maybe you're looking at the invoices coming in, the invoices that you just got in, or the payments that you are expecting to get in, and it's much less than you need it to be. But you can't really know what the problem is unless you take a moment and you actually define the situation. What's actually happening?
Yeah. And as part of this, it's essential. And I know freelancers don't always love this, but to look at your numbers. We're making the assumption that you have a system for tracking all of your invoices, for tracking the money that's coming in. And if you don't, you definitely need that. But it's essential to look at all of that, including to Nicki's point, the hours you're working, the rates that you're charging. You might be charging different clients different rates, or obviously if you're doing project pricing, it's gonna vary from project to project. But to really look at all of that, because very anecdotally, I've done it before where I'm like, ooh, my business is lagging. And then I go and look at my numbers and I say, oh, I'm actually doing just fine. I've actually got enough work coming in. And sometimes it just feels that way, especially if you're increasing your rates, or you just have bigger projects. And so maybe you have one project on your plate and you're like, this is very weird to have only one client I'm working on. But maybe it's just a very big project, so you haven't taken on other things. But obviously, if you don't have anything starting in the future, that's definitely a sign, and you want to look at that. But knowing the actual numbers versus the feelings is what's going to help you solve this problem. And obviously being in touch with your feelings too, because if you feel like, oh, I do have more time to take on more work and I want to take on more work, great, that's great. But I think for me, at least, I know I've gotten into situations where I'm going so fast, go. And the second you slow down even just a little bit to like normal working hours, you're like, this feels weird. This is strange. But then you look at the numbers, you say, oh yeah, let me book a vacation because actually I need a vacation now. But really looking at all of those things, because the data is going to tell you what's really going on.
Absolutely. Now, if you look at the data, and it is a genuine fact that your income has decreased, maybe over the past couple of weeks, maybe it's been more subtle and it's over the past couple of months. And then by that same token, if you look at maybe the number of clients that you're working with, or the number of new opportunities that you have coming in, this is information that you need to have as well. If you are looking at less work, fewer clients, less income. You have to start identifying what are the means that you get these clients. I think for a lot of people, that will fall into referrals.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, how many referrals do you usually get? How many referrals have you been seeing lately? And do you have a system for getting those referrals? I think for so many of us, and I absolutely have done this in the past, certainly, but for so many of us, referrals come so easily sometimes. And I feel like they often come in waves. But referrals come easily that we feel like we can just sit back and it feels like there's always going to be an abundant stream of referrals coming to us. And unfortunately, that's just not quite how it works.
And I think obviously if you have those coming in, that's great, but you need a system for when those aren't coming in. So again, you don't have to you don't have to use your system and put it into place and act on it if you do have work coming in, but you need it there for when these times, when you're looking into that future and thinking, ooh, I need work.
Yeah. Well, and you also need a system for encouraging those referrals as well.
Yes.
So it's a little bit less passive. Maybe it is after you get your invoice paid, do you reach out to those clients and say, hey, I really enjoyed working on this project with you. If you have anybody else who has similar projects that they're working on, I'd really appreciate it if you could pass along my information, or if it's easier, you can give me their information and I can reach out to them. But making it a system so it's not just, oh, wow, I haven't asked for referrals in the past 6 months. Because then it's really weird to reach back out to a client you haven't talked to in 6 months, 9 months, a year and say, hey, do you have anybody? You have to have a way for it is wonderful when they fall into our laps. Feels fantastic, but it's not something that you can rely on. And as soon as you start relying on it, that is when they start drying up. And if that is one of your main systems of getting work, you are in a very precarious situation.
Yeah, you're not in control of the opportunities that are coming to you. You're relying on other people to do it, which is, again, why we didn't get into freelancing in the first place. We got into freelancing so we could control the opportunities. And so very, very similarly, we need a system for reaching out to those past clients. So to Nicki's point, if you haven't reached out in 6 or 9 months, it doesn't mean you can't reach out to them. You're not going to reach out asking for a referral, though, but you can repitch those clients on an idea that you might have. Now, if you've listened to these episodes before, we're not pitching spammy, salesy ideas. We are reaching out with an idea for this business of how we could help partner with them and benefit them. We're not giving away the how we're going to do it. Obviously, we're going to do that if they hire us, but we're giving them the why they should partner with us again. You can reach out to someone that you worked with in the past year and say, hey, I loved working on, this project. I actually have an idea for this other project that I think could help your business do X, Y, Z, and put the benefit to that business of what it could help them do. And then just ask for that phone call. So you can reach out to those past clients. And that's obviously also a great way to get business coming in. But again, not the only thing you want to rely on.
Exactly. You have to have a system, a step-by-step system, an easy to follow system for finding new clients, for reaching out to new opportunities. And again, it can't be a matter of waiting for people to find you, of like, it's not a field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Just because you go freelance, it doesn't mean that people will find you. You have to have a means of reaching out and finding people. And we are, to be clear, absolutely not talking about Upwork or Fiverr or freelancer.com or any of those sites where you have to compete for work and drive down your rates. And we've done a whole episode about why those sites are bad news, and we'll link to that in the show notes. But we are not talking about relying on platforms like that, because again, you're giving up the control. You're waiting for someone to post a job. You're waiting for someone to choose you after you've decreased your rate so you can be competitive. You're giving up that control again.
Yeah. And we're also not talking about just sending mass emails to people saying, hey, do you have work for me? We're never asking people for work. Again, we're always looking to provide value. We're always looking how we can be a partner with our clients and not just a producer. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons, this not having a system for finding new clients and repitching old clients is why freelancers fail. It's not because frankly, they fail because they end up giving up because they don't have this system. But it can all be traced back to this work, because if you don't have work coming in, then then you're going to say, yeah, I can't keep freelancing because I don't know how. I don't know how to get those clients. So having the system is really the key to running a sustainable, long-term, successful, six-figure if you want, and beyond if you want, lower if you want to work part-time, whatever you want it to be, whatever your goals. To freelance, you need this system.
Exactly. And again, I think most people think outreach, most people do it and it's not their fault, but they do it so badly. To your point, Kate, it's the, hey, I'd like work, or hey, I have this, or it's incredibly impersonal. I got something in my inbox that we get pitches all the time. And I got something in my inbox that was like, hey, Nicki, I saw on LinkedIn that you went to BU. Go Terriers. We have an agency that does blah, 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 blah. Like, you going on LinkedIn, seeing where I went to college and then saying go does not count as research about me or about my company. Also, I haven't been in college for more than 20 years. I don't give
PG, Nicki, PG.
Yeah, keep it PG. I
don't care.
I don't care about BU and the Terriers and all that kind of stuff. You have to demonstrate that you care about this potential company and that you are willing to do enough research to make yourself valuable to them. You're not going to come in begging for work. You are going to come in with ideas for projects that will benefit them.
Yeah, just to give another poor example, I had a pitch recently. Number one, they didn't have any idea what I actually did. And so it was an irrelevant pitch. It was pitching for services that I wouldn't use. But one of the things that they reached out with was, hey, I noticed that you have a link on your website and it links off to this other page, which is broken. It goes to a 404. And I looked and I thought, let me double check that if that's, accurate. First of all, the link worked. So I'm not sure why that was what they pitched me. And so I thought, this is strange. But then the other side of this is even if that was it was broken, thank you, but also not the way into making a connection with a business to say, hey, here's something you're doing wrong, versus, hey, you have opportunities. And oh, by the way, once we've made that connection, hey, I'd love to, just so you know, just so you're aware, that is not adding value to point out something that is overtly negative. You want to frame it in the positive for how things can be improved. And obviously fixing that link is not going to have a measurable impact on my website and my business. Yeah. So thinking about something that actually is meaningful for the service that you offer.
Yeah. The two biggest mistakes I think that people make is that they make their pitches generic, as in just throw a bunch of stuff at a wall in case something sticks. They say, oh, well, it's a numbers game. But you can't just send crud out into the world, because also, first of all, this is their first encounter with you. It should be something that makes them go, oh, wow, this is someone I want to talk to.
With, yeah.
Exactly. And if you are just throwing crud out into the world, what kind of clients do you think you're going to get? If you're just sending out mass, nondescript, totally non-specific, generic emails out into the world, you're not going to get great quality clients back. It's like dating, right? It's not a numbers game in just date as many human beings as you can. It's, yes, you have to be sending pitches, but they have to be quality pitches. Same thing with dating.
For companies you want to work with.
Exactly. There has to be a quality element to you, because this is your best foot forward. You're showing up at their door and you want them to be their metaphorical door, you're in their inbox, but you want them to be impressed by you. So number one, it's not just, don't send something mass. Don't just, and I know
these aren't templates. Yeah.
It's not templates.
And frankly, that's sometimes so generic that they forget to put in the company name and like insert name here, insert idea here. We both received those, which is just incredible.
At least once a week. Absolutely. Absolutely. But generic is not going to get the job done. And then on top of that, the second part is salesy. If people do not want to be sold to, right? So if you have anything at all in your pitches that feels salesy, that feels like you're trying to get something out of someone, they're going to immediately shut down. That's one of the reasons why I don't look in my LinkedIn inbox anymore. Unless it's someone I know, I don't go into, because it's all pitches and it's all salesy pitches. There are no good pitches in there. So mass emails / templates, Big, huge mistake, waste of time. And I know you think, well, it's so much faster. Nope, you're going to end up wasting more time because you're not going to get any clients from it, or you're going to get cruddy clients. And then the second mistake is making it super salesy.
Sometimes people get turned off by the word pitch. I think we hear the word pitch, and if you're one of those people, I totally understand, same way. But the reframe I would encourage everyone to do, and kind of mindset shift, is that this is a helpful email. This is you coming into their inbox with a gift to say, hey, I have this idea, would love to work for you. It is less pitch. It is realizing that you can make a difference in whatever the freelance skill that you are offering, whether it's design, development, copywriting, ads management, name a field. If they'll hire you on staff as an employee, they will hire you as a freelancer to do that same work. So you can make a positive difference for their business, and you can change not just their business, but the clients that they're helping as well. So reframing it as, I'm excited to partner with you and work with you to make a difference in this world, whatever it is that they're doing. And my skills can help do that. That's what you have to offer is valuable. And so reframing it like that, I am, by withholding my skill and not reaching out to this company that I think I can really help and make a difference with, you're not helping not just yourself, but you're not helping the company, you're not helping their customers and all of the people that you can then impact with what it is you have to offer.
Exactly. You are fundamentally being helpful. And one of the most helpful elements is you're going to include an idea of something that they could do that would benefit their business. You're going to give them the what they could do. You're going to give them the why they could do it, because you want to tell them how it's going to benefit their business. But they will eventually, potentially, hire you for the how. And obviously there are a whole lot more nuances into the pitching system. But when you do it in a way that puts value and strategy forward, that is why our students come back to us again and again and say, oh, I sent out this pitch and this potential client thanked me for reaching out to them. Because what you end up being is someone who provides a solution to a potential client, and that makes you very valuable, and that makes you someone that potential clients want to talk to. And then as you get this system going and you continue to rely on the system on a regular basis, then things really start to get fun as you look at your income and you look at your schedule. If you want to make more money, you dial up your pitching system. If you want to make, I know it sounds silly to say less money, but let's say you maybe you have a vacation coming up, or maybe the kids are home from school in the summer and you want to spend more time with them, then you just dial it down. And then at the end of the summer, when you dial it back up again. But it is simple as quality input leads to quality output, being projects and income and clients and all of that kind of stuff. But you have to have a steady stream of input to get to that steady stream of output, that steady stream of income and clients and projects. But if you have no input, meaning if you are, like we were saying earlier, if you are kind of hoping that clients are going to find you, or you're relying on referrals and those referrals are starting to dry up or they're inconsistent, then that's why on the other side, you have an inconsistent income project schedule and all of that.
And one of the reasons, there are a few reasons why we want to keep pitching new clients. First and foremost is that if you want to let go of a client, it's really nice to be able to replace that client with someone else. And maybe you don't replace them right away, but it is nice when you can seamlessly offboard one client and know that you're starting work with another client in the future. And remember, you have control of when projects start and stop and when you are available for new clients. So you do have control over this. It's not like people are going to come back to you and say, I need it tomorrow. And obviously if they do, then you can choose whether or not you want to take that on and add rush fees and all of that sort of thing. But it is so nice if you're so sick of working with a client, especially depending, again, freelancers, obviously, you have a different mix, a balance of work. But if you have an ongoing client, for example, and they make up 50% of your freelance income, it can start to feel like, oh, I have a lot of eggs in this basket. And of course, if they go away, that's great. You still have 50% of your income, which is more than people can say that work on staff, who, if they lose, laid off, mergers, acquisition, all of that sort of thing, they lose 100, all of their eggs are in one basket. So you are ahead of the game already, but it's so much nicer to have a system that allows you to still pick and choose who you're working with and when you want to work with them and when you want to maybe move on from that relationship. But the other thing to think about too is that when you are doing this pitching process, that timeline wise, again, most clients aren't going to get back to you the next day per se, and they might not be able to kick off the project for another month or so. And so, knowing that you are doing this and knowing that you're planting kind of the seeds that will grow down the line. And so, if you realize today, oh shoot, next week I have zero work, you want to get that going, but know that maybe next week is a great week for a vacation and to be pitching while you're on vacation so you can set yourself up for work in the future. And so just knowing that the process, again, some will get back to you faster than others. We've had students a year after sending a pitch, the client comes back and is ready to start a project, which is amazing. Also, if you're like, I need work tomorrow, that's not amazing. But again, you're planting. That's why we don't send one or two. We're putting these feelers out into the world, casting our net, and things, again, will come back at different paces. So knowing that, and again, reminding yourself that you do have control, ultimate control. So if you're like, oh, I don't want to pitch because I feel like I have too much going on, but 2 months from now I don't, well, you might want to start thinking about maybe you're not sending as many as you normally do. And again, you have control over how many and when you send them. So knowing that this is not an overnight process, but it is consistently done an effective way to steadily have work coming in and have income. So that's why you're continuing to do it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we don't just teach the system for creating these pitches, which is different than anything else you see, but also a system for scheduling them and how to make sure they get done. Because let's face it, a lot of the stuff that we know we need to get done in our business is really hard for us to get done for ourselves, but setting up a system to make sure that it gets done. Because consistency is how you ensure that you have a consistently healthy business. You get to a lagging freelance business. Again, it's that input and output. If you don't have enough going in, you're not going to have enough coming out. So sticking with sending these pitches consistently is how you ensure that you don't end up in a situation where you're going, my business is lagging. I'm not making as much. And then you don't have to deal with that fear, with that, oh my gosh, I guess freelancing is risky, or they all said it's just so scary. You don't have to experience that at all. At all. You can have a consistent income. And quite frankly, you should, as a freelancer, have a consistent income, and you should be making more than you did on staff. There's absolutely no reason why that shouldn't be the case. Actually, I take that back. There's one reason why that should not be the case. And it's because you don't know how to do it.
You don't know. Yeah. We're not born knowing how to do it. It's a skill. And I think so many people think, well, I'm just going to leave full-time work and go freelance. And full-time work, you go into the office and a lot of things are kind of just done seamlessly. So we don't have to learn finance. There's the finance team and whatnot. And it's not hard to do it as a freelancer by any means. It's just that we don't know what we don't know. And so there are differences to running your own show versus showing up to an office. The snacks are way better when you can choose them though yourself.
Yes, exactly. So there you have it. If you are in the middle of a slowdown period, if it feels like your freelance business has been lagging, you have some tools to get started with to bring yourself back up. And if you haven't experienced that yet, good for you. Jackpot. You never have to experience it, but you have to take the right steps to make sure that it doesn't happen. Yeah. You should be successful, but you have to take the right steps to get there. So there you have it. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us on this special Freelance Success Framework video series. If you found us through our free on-demand video training, then you already know 3 of the biggest secrets for building a dependable and scalable freelance business, and you are well on your way to success. If you haven't seen our free video training yet, be sure to check it out at freelancesuccesstraining.com. We'll see you there.